Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Welcome back to Hanging with Mangg. Just playing some Hearthstone just because, I don't know, I wasn't really sure what else to play. We'll just rank up a little bit to unlock another card back, I guess. Yeah, so let's see here. This week was rather uneventful. We did some more Commandos 2. We did some more roll manging. I think that was about it. Really wasn't much going on as far as the channel goes. And there's not really going to be a whole lot in the near future. I didn't really, like I said, I think last week, 90% of my free time this week was spent playing Final Fantasy X and watching Battlestar Galactica. So, yeah, not ashamed to admit that. I did finish Battlestar Galactica. Hell of a freaking show. It's probably my favorite TV show of all time. Like, I really tried to think about it, and I tried to think about, like, what is higher than that, you know? And I couldn't really think of much. Like, I really loved 24, huge fan of that show. I really liked Lost when it was on, but that had its issues, I guess. True Detective, you know, the first season, loved that. But I don't know, none of it really comes all together like Battlestar Galactica did, at least for me. Like, it just was so, like, it touched on so many different subjects. It wasn't just some show about people in space, you know? Oh, man. Great show. Highly recommend it. And the board game, which I'm hoping to get to play at some point again soon. So yeah, that was really good. But that's over with. So, I'll be putting out a video probably Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, I want to say, about this new game that just came out on Steam on early access called Armello. May have heard of it. It's a digital board game, kind of like Hearthstone's a digital card game. And digital board games kind of interesting because part of me is like, well, you know, the reason that we like board games isn't, it's mostly because we're around a table together with your friends, you know, but it's also because board games differ from video games in a lot of ways, you know, as far as design. And so it's like, you know, how good would a digital board game really be? But it's enjoyable, actually. Oh, damn it. I didn't want to do that, but I guess. And so it's pretty slick. They can do stuff with, wow. They can do stuff in the digital format, much like Hearthstone, that you can't really do with the physical product, you know. And so I'll put out a video talking about it and playing through a game of that sometime this week to show that off. The only problem with that is it's $20 right now, and that's on sale. Normally it's $25, and that's really pricey, which is, I mean, it's a good game, and it's funny because, like, I pre-purchased Evolve no problem for $60. It's just like, oh yeah, sure. But then it's like, Armello, $20, huh? I mean, I bought Armello. I paid the $20 without even playing it, so I guess, you know, it's whatever. But to convince other people, it's like, oh, you should get this digital board game. It's $20, it's like on Steam. But yeah, it's early access. Like, it just went on early access, so it's mostly been available to the Kickstarter backers. So hopefully it grows and grows. I think right now it's like 1 map and 4 heroes, so it's got a lot of room to grow. But, you know, I'll talk about it more in that video. I was gonna do a Resident Evil HD remaster, whatever, remake, let's play. I don't know when that'll be. Because that's like, it's got to be, it's not a game that I'm tremendously excited to play. Ziggy's really pushing me to play it, and it's like, I'm not a big fan of horror games. I just don't really see the appeal. I like Resident Evil 4, but that's not a game that I'll really ever... like, just sit down and be like, I want to play Resident Evil 4 today, you know? It's just, it doesn't really happen. Because it is kind of a horror game, even though it's pretty action-y. But the original Resident Evil, when I was probably 7, or 6 or 7, I'll say, I went over to my aunt and uncle's house. My cousin at the time was like, he was like 17 or 18. And he had just gotten a PlayStation. We are freaking wrecking. He had just gotten a PlayStation, and he had gotten this new game called Resident Evil. And he's like, "Hey Adam, you wanna check out this new PlayStation game?" And up until that, like, I was finger deep in the Super Nintendo at that point, you know. Like, that's what I had. I think, like, that Christmas or the next Christmas, something like that, I get an N64. But back then, I was all about the Super Nintendo, so I was like, PlayStation, what? And, so I was like, of course, you know, my cool older cousin showing off this new PlayStation nonsense, of course. So we go into his room, and he's like, "Oh, this is kind of a scary game, though. We got to turn off the lights." And yeah, I know this sounds kind of weird, but yeah, I mean, whatever. So we're sitting in his dark room. We're both like right in front of this TV, and the opening cinematic to the original Resident Evil comes on. And if you watch it, if you go on YouTube and watch the opening cinematic to that now, it's, you know, it's kind of hilarious. It's really dated, whatever. But if you're 7 years old and you've never seen shit like this before and you watch that in the dark, I was traumatized, man. Instant traumatization. And it's scary as hell, man. Because I didn't really know anything about zombies. And so yeah, that's why I never really cared anything about the Resident Evil series, because it just was bad. It had bad memories. And then 4 came out and everybody was talking about that, and it seemed really action-y, so I was like, ah, sure, I'm older, whatever. So I don't know. Like, I told Ziggy I was gonna do it. I was gonna get the new Resident Evil HD thing, and I was gonna play it. And I figure if I'd play it, I might as well record it. And so I don't know. We'll see if I decide to do that. I don't like to go back on my word, but it just doesn't sound very fun to me. Evolve is coming out soon. That's good. I played. There's this. There's a game out there called Don't Starve. You may have heard of it. Fairly well known. Kind of a odd art style, but it's a survival game. And it's kind of difficult. I played it, like, I got it for free on PlayStation Plus, I think, and I played it. And I really sucked at it, so I never pretty much played it again. I guess I'm not great at kind of survival game. And, that really sucks. He's gonna tray. He's gonna get such a nice tray, but if I do this, it's like, what's the... Yes, Don't Starve. I didn't play it much. I sucked at it. And, I didn't love it because, like... I don't know. It just seems like... How do I even want to describe it? Like, you're staving off the inevitable is kind of what it is. And not in a really entertaining way. Like, you're just kind of building up your resources slowly, hoping nothing bad happens. And then you get to a point where it's kind of just like, alright, well, I can't die, so I win, I guess? I don't know, it just seems kind of like there's a vague win condition.
Something needs tinkering?
And... I don't know. I like Terraria. I like Terraria. I thought that was fun because you were constantly like building up, and there was like bosses you could fight, and there wasn't really a distinct end, but there was kind of a distinctive end. I don't know if Don't Starve has that. I guess I didn't really get that far, but it just seemed like you were either exploring or dying, and you didn't want to die, so you built up your base. And then, once your base was really good and you explored everything, you're basically done? I don't know. But the point is, there's a recent update, free expansion, standalone, whatever, I don't know, called Don't Starve Together. Which is... basically a multiplayer version of Don't Starve. And so Studs had been playing that, and he's like, oh, you should get this, and blah, blah, blah. And on Steam, if you buy Don't Starve Together, you get like an extra free copy to give to somebody else. So Mert bought it, and he's like, oh, here, you know, we'll split it here, $10. And so for $10, I was like, fine, I'll get Don't Starve Together. And so we played that. We played with Studs' brothers. There was 4 of us, and there's a character you can play as. She's like this little emo girl that gets she gets a lighter, and the lighter never runs out, and it can burn almost anything. Like, you can set almost anything on fire, most things. And it just burns and burns. And like if you set a tree in a forest on fire, the fire spreads really quick. And within 30 seconds, the entire forest is just ashes, and it's awesome. So they're trying to seriously like play this game and get real far and survive and build up their base and do stuff, explore. And I am just running around setting every single thing on fire, and it's amazing. And, yeah. So I was just like, I can't really take this serious. I don't know, I just want to set things on fire. So I don't know if they'll ever play with me again, but, I enjoyed it, I guess, for a little bit. Yeah, what was I even talking about? Oh, yeah. So I want Evolve to come out. That'll be fun. I'll probably be making a one of my homemade trailers for that game. You can look forward to that sometime this week, I would say. I don't Dying Light. I don't even know if I'm gonna be getting that. I'll wait for reviews on that one. Matter Bomber. Nice. Nice. Actually, that's not nice. Yeah, and then other than that, oh, there's the new Dragon Ball game, which looks pretty sweet. That's coming out pretty soon. I'll probably buy that. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe there'll be some videos of that. Monster Hunter. Can I talk about Monster Hunter for a second? Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate's coming out real damn soon. It's on the 3DS. It is only on the 3DS. I hope this pisses you off as much as it pisses me off. One, because the 3DS is real small, so you have to look at a real small damn screen when I have a 50-inch and a 42-inch screen in front of me. But also, it hurts my hands. My hands cramp up when I play on a 3DS for too long, especially doing like intensive action. That's annoying. So I have to get like the Control Pad Pro or whatever it's called, the little extension. So that pisses me off. But also, I can't record off of the 3DS. You can, but you have to, like, I have to, like, mod the 3DS. I have to, like, ship it out to some company and have them do it, and blah, 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 and it's this whole thing. So, no, I can't record off of it unless I want to just point my camera at it. And, so, it just really bums me out. And, bums me out because I played the demo. They put out a demo for the 4 Ultimate, and I played it a good number of times. And, it's actually really, it's like it's a slick game. It ain't no joke. I like the changes that they got going on. I really like one of the new weapons that they added, the Charge Blade. Oh man, I wish I could show you that shit. It's so cool. Like, it's like half sword and shield, but better, and then the other half is like the switch axe, but better. It's just better all around, and it's awesome. And they added like,
I am ready.
they added a lot of verticality to the game. Monster Hunters in the past have been mostly level, you know? You're fighting a monster on one solid level. And yeah, you'll do some climbing occasionally, or you'll drop down to get to different areas, but the fighting takes place on one flat level for the most part. This one, they really wanted to change that up. And so you'll... That's shit.
Hurry up.
Okay, we'll do this, this, and this. So they changed climbing a little bit, so you can climb left and right. You can climb horizontally while you're climbing. So that changes it up a little bit. That's devastating. You can attack while you're climbing, which is a different thing. But then the big thing they added was mounting monsters. So you can actually climb on top of monsters. And attack them while on top of them. And that's a big deal. And in the demo, they make it completely overpowered. Like, when you're jumping off like a ledge, you can do like a power swing, kind of like a Dark Souls thing, where you do like a jump attack. And in the demo, if you connect with that jump attack, you automatically mount them and knock them over, and it's ridiculous. So I'm interested to see how balanced it is in the regular game, but it's a cool feature. It's kind of just a button mashing thing with a bit of strategy. Well, not strategy, but it's not just slam the button. You occasionally have to hold on, but It's not too involved, but you don't want it to be involved because I don't think you're going to be doing it as much in the regular game. So I like the new weapon. I like the verticality. I like the monsters that I saw. I like that they changed it to felines again instead of, I think it was felines. I didn't even, it's hard to tell because I'm looking at a 3DS, but I'm pretty sure it's cats instead of the cha-cha bullshit. Oh, man. Okay, I win. So I kind of like it all, but then it has the drawbacks that it's on the 3DS, and it's just so lame. Why are you doing that? What's the point? I mean, I know the point. It's because people in Japan don't even use their consoles. Why would they? They got 3DSs. It's ridiculous. But here in America, we have big TVs. Yeah, so I'll get the game, but it doesn't really matter to any of you because I can't show it to you. So it just kind of bums me out, really.
You
yeah.
asked for it.
Let's see. As far as board gaming goes, then I got together on Friday. And I went over to my sister's. What? Oh my god. That blows my mind. And I've been really just jonesing for Cosmic Encounter. It's all I want to play, of course. And whenever we go over there, I've been talking about it plenty. And I told him it's my favorite game. It's the greatest game. Blah blah blah. But I was always like, you know, it's because I think I read initially that it's either you play with 5 or you don't play at all. I don't know who told me that originally, but that was the assumption I was under. So I was like, no, we can never do it because we don't have a 5th person. But then I was like, oh, look it up. I'll see what other people are saying. I looked it up, and everybody was like, oh, 4 is as good as 5, or almost as good as 5. And even on the Shut Up and Sit Down just did a video of them playing it, and they had 4 players. And it was fine. And so I was like, alright, fine. We will, I'll bring it over. We'll play it with 4.
Attend me. Ready, sir.
And so I brought over Cosmic, I brought over One Night Ultimate Werewolf, of course, and I brought over Skull and Lords of Waterdeep just in case. I don't know why. I needed another big box, I guess. And so we started with Skull. We played a couple rounds of that. Always fine. Always good game, Skull. And we're like, all right, let's get to Cosmic Encounter. And so these, I mean, these are people that I've introduced a lot of new games to. And I've felt them pretty competent as far as it comes to learning new games. Everything I've thrown at them so far, they've handled pretty well. So they, Cosmic's not that tough. They'll be fine. So I went through the rules. I explained it all, the basics. I always I go through the same spiel whenever I teach Cosmic. I teach them the very basic rules, and it sounds like kind of a shit game. And then I'm like, yeah, so that's the basic rules. It sounds kind of boring, I know. But then there's these aliens that basically break every rule I've explained to you in some way. And
You insist.
And so I have all the expansions mixed in, and that doesn't really mean too much. That means basically there's all the new aliens, which shouldn't really change the complexity of the game too much, because aliens are aliens. They can be simple or they can be hard. And I have the defensive reward deck, which I see no issue introducing right away. It seems kind of... It's too important to not just throw in. What do I even want to do with that?
Challenge accept. Battle.
The defensive reward X is too important, and then one of the expansions I think adds cards into the basic cosmic deck and stuff like that, but really nothing too crazy. And so we started playing, and I got my choices for aliens were the lizard and the aristocrat. And as soon as I saw that I was gonna get the aristocrat, I was like, no, I can't pick that one. That would that wouldn't be fair, because the
Challenge accepted.
the aristocrat gets to basically, before the game starts, before flare cards are added to the deck, he can look through the whole deck and pick his starting hand of 8 cards of whatever he wants. So you can take the 40, the 30, the 23, you know, a couple negotiates, and both cards add, or all the cards, whatever you want. Whatever you want, you get to pick. And then during the game, I think you get to grab whatever flares you want. It's really crazy, and obviously with a bunch of veterans, you're just gonna get piled on right away. It's gonna be tough to win. But with a bunch of newbies, I think I would have just destroyed them. So yeah, I didn't pick that. I went with the lizard, who if you watch the Shut Up and Sit Down playthrough of it that they just put up, Brendan plays as the lizard, and really you should be watching everything that Shut Up and Sit Down does. But the lizard gets a second color of ships that he gets to put on the card, and anytime he wins an encounter as a main player, he gets to modify or transmogrify his ships that were in the encounter to the other color, and they give a bonus when they're part of an encounter. And so his goal is to basically change all his original ships into the new color of ships, and then he wins the game. He can also win normally, but you know. And so I was like, oh, lizard, that'll be fun. And so my mom got the pacifist, which, if you don't know much about Cosmic, the pacifist is one of the most powerful aliens you can get. It's ridiculous. And even as a novice, she did pretty well for herself with the pacifist. Like, you can clearly see it's better than most. Well, this is bad. This seems pointless, but okay. I guess I can ping it, maybe. My brother-in-law got the Observer, which is... It's not something I would ever pick. I think I would always pick the other card in those kind of situations.
Powering up. Portal online.
There's probably a few maybe where I'd pick the Observer, but I just don't care for that. It just... I like the really fun aliens, you know, like the lizard or something like that, you know, where it's just crazy. The Observer is just so kind of pragmatic, you know, it's just... You, like, your allies' ships don't go to the warp. You can have them just go back to their colonies. And so, yeah, it's like, oh, if you ally with me, you know, there's no harm done. You can just get your ships back. It's no problem. But it's just like, that's not really fun. It's just so, like the zombie, you know, it's just like, oh, okay. I like the more fun ones. And, so, I don't think he was crazy about it either. But then my sister got really screwed because she picked the arcade.
Something needs tinkering?
And the arcade's I think it was a bit too complicated for her, for a novice. It was a yellow, not a red, but I probably should have just redealt her and given her a different selection. Mind if I do? Don't mind if I do.
For Tinkertown!
The arcade, if they win, it's a little more complicated than I'm going to explain, but if they win an encounter by 10 or more, which is kind of tough sometimes, by 10 or more, they can steal one of the ships from the enemy that were involved in the encounter. I got really boned by that, but okay. Yeah, anyways. And they steal one of the ships, they put it on their card, and if they ever have 3 ships of the same color, or 5 ships in total, they win the game. And so that's a kind of oversimplifying it, and really it's not so much as complicated, although it kind of is for a first-time player, but it's more like it's tricky to win with something like that your first time, you know. You want something that's just really straight up useful, like the pacifist. You understand what it does, it's real simple, and it's real good.
Did someone say bomb?
Okay. So yeah, the game was underway, and I could tell they were kind of burgeoned by all these rules that they had to remember. And I mean, I don't think it's that complicated, but like Tom Vassell discussed in a recent video, what you as an experienced gamer think is simple is not what a casual gamer thinks is simple, you know? You can really easily misjudge it. And yeah, I think Cosmic is probably simpler than it is for a first-time player, a casual gamer, but I don't think it's that bad. And so they weren't loving the game most of the way through it. And I tried to tell them at the start, like, it's kind of like poker where sometimes you're just gonna get a shitty hand or something like that. You're just gonna get unlucky, but you can still win being unlucky, you know. It's just how you don't really play the game as much as you play the other people. And I mean, yeah, sometimes it's just like that's impossible, you know. And it's a game that's it's not all luck. There's strategy involved. There definitely is, and it requires some getting used to. There's a learning curve and all that. And so most of the game they were kind of like my brother-in-law was like, "You actually like this game, huh?" I was like, "Yeah, it's my favorite game." And I think my mom was enjoying it for the most part, because she was kind of crushing us for quite a while. And then towards the end, I think it started to click for the others. They started to understand it, but then I swiftly won because I had converted my last ship because they weren't really paying attention to it, and so yeah, I won. And that proves that it's not about luck. There's skill involved. Where the hell did... Oh, okay. And 11, 12. 14, 16, 18, 19. Okay, well, I'm going to freeze that, obviously. We're going to play this. We're going to hit this. Yeah. I need Flame Strike real soon. So, they said afterwards that they would play it again, and we discussed it that, you know, it's a game that, for casual gamers, you can't just play it once and then play it again in a month and expect them to just keep enjoying it, you know. They got to get used to it. They got to get really into it. And I'm like, well, if there's any game in my collection that I would like to bring every week to get people used to, it's Cosmic Encounter. So I'm fine with that. So next Friday I'll probably bring it again and we'll try it again. Maybe I'll curate the alien selection a little bit. I'm not sure. I might just put out, you know, a selection of 20 green aliens for me to dish out flares from. I don't know. We'll see. Because I want people to.
Well played.
I want people to enjoy Cosmic because I enjoy Cosmic. And so it bums me out that Studs is really down on Cosmic, and Ziggy's like, I like Cosmic, but I think we've played it enough for a good while, and it's just like, what? What? I don't know when I would ever say, like, we've played Cosmic enough for a good while. Like, what? How does that work? That doesn't compute. Did FPS Doug say that he's played enough first-person shooters for a while? No. No.
You asked for it.
Yeah, that bums me out. So if I get this other group really into Cosmic, that would just be great.
Job's done.
So yeah, we did the Cosmic and they weren't crazy. I mean, we weren't going to play it a second game. It took a while, so they wanted to play some One Night Ultimate Werewolf, and that was of course fun. Just good times with that game. I'd like to play with more, but I'd also like to play the Resistance, so you know. So then today, as you may or may not know, it was this was the day of Call of Cthulhu. I was starting the mass campaign with this new group. And so they kept on asking what game we were playing today, and I was like, it's a surprise, I won't tell you. And I didn't want it to be really a surprise. But Ziggy was like, oh no, just have them come in, and all the character sheets will just be sitting there. And it'll be a surprise. And I was like, I don't know. So that's what happened. They came in, the character sheets were sitting there, and Stud saw it, and he's like, playing Call of Cthulhu. I was like, yeah. I was like, you know, Ziggy wanted it to be a surprise. He's like, well, if I would have known, I probably wouldn't have come. Which is just a great thing to say, you know, before you get started with a campaign. Just really great. So I knew it wasn't going to be good. I was hoping I could capture him really fast and maybe he'll enjoy it, but we'll see. So we go through character creation. And,
My hand is too full.
Ziggy makes Professor Anthony Skinner, just like he did last time, and,
Powering up. Portals online.
you know, he makes it this professor of, I don't even know what he was, I don't know what he was a professor of. History something history. So he makes it, you know, a really Lovecraftian, a Lovecraftian hero. The other guys made a crack dealer, a lumberjack, a judo teacher, and a hooker. all non-Lovecraftian heroes. This is gonna be nuts. Good lord.
Powering up. Portals online.
Shit, this is crazy.
I don't have enough mana.
Oh shit, that's not a... Sure, I don't know. Yes, all really non-Lovecraft heroes. Like, they were just kind of... And really, this is the lesson that I gained from today. I should have run the Haunting. That's it. Like, that's it. I should have run the Haunting. That's like, if you're playing Call of Cthulhu for the first time and you're not playing the Haunting, your DM is doing something wrong. It's just no. Your first Call of Cthulhu experience is the Haunting. That's it. Bar none. That's it. That's it. And we were not playing the Haunting, as you may realize. Oh shit. God damn it. And so
Already attacked.
yeah, it was disastrous is what it was. Ziggy, of course, was trying to take it really seriously because he's played this before. He's trying to lead it along and get it going because he wants to play Call of Cthulhu just like I do. And Mert, of course, is always very cooperative, and he'll try to get into it as much as he can. But really, if Studs weren't there, we would have had a great time. I'll say that. I'll say that right now. Even though we weren't running the Haunting, if Studs were not there. 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, okay. It would have been fine. But he brought the whole thing down because he was basically... He was like, you know, I'm just gonna try to kill all of you immediately. You know, that's basically... He was like me in a one-shot mood on crack is what was going on. And that's not somebody you ever want to have at your table, no matter what you're doing. So Ziggy was trying to really bring them into it. He was explaining about the Carlisle expedition and this Jackson Elliot's character and how he brought us all together. But there was just so many jokes involved because Studs was playing just this autistic 19-year-old hooker. And there was just so many sex jokes and it just never stopped.
My magic will tear you apart.
It's just like, yeah, I mean... I like humor. We all like humor, but it's like we're trying to, like... And I don't want to be just... Yeah, it would have been a lot better if I just said, you know, you can just kind of leave then. But that's just like such a... It seems like a dick thing to say, but is it? Would it have been? Probably not. But he drove all the way out there. I don't know. I probably should have said, you know, if you're really gonna be like that, you know, you can just go home. It's all right. This is what we're doing for the day. That's what's gonna happen. But I didn't say that, and so he stuck around. And yeah. So yeah, the joking never stopped. And so they go to the Chelsea Hotel, of course, as is accustomed, and they go up to the room. And they knock on the door. Ziggy knocks on the door. You know, there's no response. So the lumberjack immediately begins hacking down the door. Right then and there, I knew I should have run the haunting. Because not only is this their first Call of Cthulhu experience, this is basically their first RPG experience, more or less. We ran that like hour-long one-shot the other day, but that other time, but that doesn't get it all out of your system, you know.
Job's done.
Like there's just this noob thing when you first play an RPG, for a lot of people, where it's just like, I can do whatever I want. Oh God, you know, it's exactly how I started, and it's just like, oh man. And so, yeah, he's hacking down the door at the Chelsea Hotel with an axe. I was like, this is not gonna end well. And so then he hacks down the door. They see the 3 cult members fleeing towards the window. And that is actually like worst case scenario. And they basically let them get away. Like, they don't really even make much of an attempt to stop them. Ziggy's the only one. He fires off his Derringer and it doesn't do much. That was about it. And so they basically let them go, and then they're like, oh, you know, we got to get out of here before the cops show up.
Something needs tinkering?
Job's done.
Oh man, that's what I want. Hopefully he survives. Please survive. And so Ziggy knows, of course, that there's clues in this room. They need the clues, and I was like, you know, of course I can manage it if they don't get any clues. I can get them to clues some other way. But it's a lot easier if they just pick it up right there. So, wow, really? So he's like, you guys get out of here. I'm going to stay around, and I'll talk to the police. So they all go down the fire escape, which, of course, breaks. As that wasn't my thing. That's it written in the book. Fire escape breaks of a certain size limit. So they all go tumbling to the ground, and the crack dealer takes a bunch of damage, and the hooker takes just enough damage to go to 0 health. And And so she gets knocked unconscious. They see the getaway vehicle just driving away. So they pick up this unconscious hooker and throw her in the crack dealer's trunk. And they drive to some mob doctor and named Slimmy Jim, who patches her up. And the crack dealer pays for it with some crack that he found in the hooker's vagina, and that should give you a good indication of how the session went. I'll tell you that. Just base it off of that comment right there. And Anthony Skinner he talked to the police, and he told them the situation, so on. You know, normal Call of Cthulhu stuff, nothing crazy there. And he gave all their names. The hooker didn't have a last name because she was born in a dumpster. So her name was just Stevette. And his Derringer was taken because he didn't have a permit for it. And so basically he goes back to his home. The other crew, after dropping the hooker off, they stay at the crack dealer's crack house for the night, which is located in Harlem. The next morning, they all... Well, the hooker wakes up. Hooker wakes up in this mob doctor's basement, and she tries to headbutt the doctor right away because on the character sheet, you know, you have your physical combat skills, and the top one is written as fist, I think. Yeah, it's just fist, and then the next one is head. And so this is probably what sparked Studs' imagination to create a hooker. So of course he had 99 in head, which is headbutting, of course.
Will tear you apart.
So he tried to headbutt the. I think he had 99. I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, he did hit the doctor, but he had a negative damage bonus because she was really weak, of course. So he did like 2 damage minus 3 damage, so he did nothing. And so the doctor just thought, you know, she woke with a start. And then she grabbed a scalpel and ran out of the building, almost naked, into one of the coldest winters in New York history. She just ran away, so she very quickly succumbed to hypothermia. She didn't quite die because I didn't want to just give Studs that out. Not at this point. And so the others went there, and you know, the doctor told them that she was crazy, and she ran off, and he doesn't really give a shit because he doesn't care. You didn't pay him in that much crack. And so they wanted to track her down, so the crack dealer goes outside, and he rolls track, and he crits. He rolls a 1. So like a bloodhound, he searches down this frozen teenage hooker. And they find her huddled in an alley. She's still alive, so they put a jacket on her and throw her back in the trunk.
What to do? What to do?
And they drive to Professor Skinner's house.
Just like you.
And of course he's home. And he's like in a wealthy part of the neighborhood, and then these guys roll up in their roadster. And they pull a unconscious teenage hooker out of the trunk, because that's what happens. It's not bad. And so he pulls them into the house. They get her a bath, and they put her in bed and stuff like that. And he's like, "We're gonna talk about this." Also Ziggy went to Emerson Imports and started that investigation. So he's trying to still hold this together. He's like, "You guys just sit here. I'm gonna go get some Chinese food. I'll be back." So he goes off to get some Chinese food. 15 minutes later, the other guys hear a knock at the front door. Mert answers it, and of course it's Lieutenant Poole. Because Emerson had called the police, saying that this guy was asking about, you know, Jackson Elias and stuff like that, and so Lieutenant Poole wanted to follow up on this shit because he's a good cop, damn it. And so Mert, of course, is Mert. He can never lie, and he's always got to be a good guy. So he lets the cop in. So, oh yeah, Professor Skinner's out getting some Chinese food. He'll be back soon, but you can wait here. He's like, okay. And so Mert gave his account of what happened the previous night, and he completely truthful, exactly what happened. and the crack dealer comes out, and then the lumberjack comes out carrying his axe. Apparently, I didn't realize that at the time, but that is apparently what happened.
Come close and listen. Come close and listen.
For master.
And so he hears that he knows that the door to the hotel room looked like it was chopped in with an axe, and so now he sees that this lumberjack is carrying an axe right in front of him. And so after the account of the last night, he's like, well, sir, I'm gonna have to take you in temporarily. We got some questions for you. Like, at this point, I'm basically trying to instigate. Although, I think realistically, they'd probably take this guy in. He's clearly dangerous. And so... Oh, that's a bummer.
Silent, but deadly.
And so the crack dealer, he kind of, his day job is a paralegal, so he knows some law. So he's like, what are these charges you're arresting him on? And so, of course, the book says that basically anytime you want to arrest anybody in the 1920s New York for anything, you just say it's for mopery, which is like the vaguest of charges. You can arrest anybody for mopery for them basically doing nothing. I mean, I could have arrested him for, you know, probably something much more serious than that, but it was, you know, mopery. And you can never argue that, so he's getting arrested. It's gonna happen. So the cuffs come out, and I asked the lumberjacks, are you gonna put down your axe? Of course not, because this is his first RPG experience. He's not gonna put down the axe. So of course he swings, and he's gonna try to cleave the man in half from his groin upwards. And he succeeds. He rolls a beastly roll with his axe. Like, just 13 damage. Killed the lieutenant in one hit, no problem. And so yeah, he kills him in one hit. Blood everywhere, just chaos. And so the Mert goes temporarily insane. So he grapples the lumberjack, tries to strangle him. The crack dealer's trying to pull the insane judo master off of the lumberjack. Eventually he does, so the judo master turns on the crack dealer, starts strangling him. So the lumberjack gets a good swing in on the judo master, takes a good number of hit points off, goes in for a second swing, but the judo master's ready this time, so he basically flings the crack dealer into the attack of the axe, and he the lumberjack decapitates the crack dealer slash paralegal in one swift blow. And so then the lumberjack quickly dispatches with the judo master, because that makes sense, right? The lumberjack can easily defeat a judo master with just his axe. And so then they're all dead except for the lumberjack. And then the hooker walks out. She finally woke up. And because she's autistic, she basically ignores all the blood and just sits down at the table drinking her tea. I don't know much about autism, but I don't think that's how it works. That's shit. And so of course the lumberjack can't have a witness, so he decapitates the 19-year-old autistic hooker. And so then he tries to hide, and he fails miserably, but he thinks he's an expert at hiding. When the Anthony Skinner finally comes home. Takes a massive sanity loss, but he doesn't go insane. Doesn't go temporarily insane. He clearly sees this crazed lumberjack hiding, trying to hide, so he goes for the lieutenant's revolver, grabs it. Lumberjack tries to kill him, but the professor makes an incredible dodge and then an incredible headshot, blows the lumberjack's brains out. Then he realizes that there's really no escape from this, so he just fires up the gas on his stove and blows up with his own house. And that's how we ended. Like I said, disastrous, really. I mean, I laughed, yeah, but it was kind of like a, oh god, what have I done kind of laugh. Not a, man, this is really funny, let's do this every week kind of laugh. Yeah, so... yeah. It was, yeah, I should have run the haunting, and probably I will. In like a month or so, when that's kind of all cooled down, I will tell Studs that I'm going to be running the haunting, and you do not have to come. Please don't come. And the others will play the haunting, and that should be a lot of fun. I'll let them go hog wild because it doesn't really matter. If that goes well, then maybe down the line, eventually I'll run masks for them, but it's really kind of a commitment thing. And I don't know if it'll ever happen, really. Probably what will most likely happen is this summer, maybe, or something like that. At some point, we'll get the old crew from Roll20 back together, and I'll run, like, Horror on the Orient Express or something like that. A new big campaign.
What to do?
That's much more likely.
What to do?
We must cleanse
And
the sun.
like I said, I feel like if Studs wasn't there, things would have been just a lot better all around. But Studs was there, and things were not good all around. So we played Shadows over Camelot afterwards, and Studs was the traitor, and he lost. So he was not happy about that. So it was just not really a good day at all for Studs. But I feel, do I feel bad? That's a tough question. I mean, on the one hand, yeah, we didn't tell him about that, and if you don't like something, you probably don't want to be forced into it, and, you know, he gets board game day once a week, and we kind of screwed him out of it. Yeah, but he did kind of act like a child. If you don't want to do it, just leave. You don't have to ruin it for everybody else, you know. So, yeah, I think we all learned a valuable lesson there. Or a not so valuable lesson, I don't know. I heard a lot of sex jokes today, I'll tell you that. Not sure if I actually have Flame Strike in this deck. Sure doesn't seem like it. So yeah, that was today's board game day. Yeah. It's alright. Next week we'll probably play like Battlestar Galactica, and it'll be all good. It'll be better. Whatever. Yeah, other than that, as far as real life stuff, nothing really crazy. Usual routine of Applebee's on Thursday, bar on Friday, Applebee's on Saturday, brunch on Sunday. That's the routine. My good buddy that I work with, he's apparently having liver trouble, and so he's got to go in to get more tests on his liver on Wednesday. So we've been making a lot of jokes about how he's gonna die, because that's what friends do. It just kind of makes you feel old. So you're 25, you're having liver trouble. And yeah, you could have liver trouble at 4 years old, so I guess that doesn't really matter, but it just seems old. Like my one friend got married, my other friend bought his own house, my other friend is having liver trouble, and I'm sitting here talking about Call of Cthulhu. So, I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's about it for today. It's been enough of a day, I suppose. Ugh, gosh. I mean, I don't feel like, yeah, I prepared everything for a full mass campaign. I printed out like all the handouts and cut it all out, but really, it doesn't really bother me. It's kind of just like, I mean, yeah, it bothers me that we're not going to do it because I wanted to do it, but it's just like that work that I did is just like, whatever. What else would I have done with my life? I got to cut some paper. That's kind of exciting, right? At least the D&D campaign that's going on online is nowhere near that disastrous. It's going very smooth compared to that. But anyways, my name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg. See you fine folks next week.